In this module, we will be covering PowerPoint Unit 3, inserting word art, charts, and tables. After downloading the start file and the supporting files from MindTap, we're going to open the start PowerPoint file, which as you can see is a blank file. The first thing we're going to do is go to the Design tab on the ribbon, and we are going to find and apply the WISP theme. We'll hit the More button. We can hover over each theme to give us a screen that tells which theme it is, and we can see them apply as we go. We find here the WISP theme, and we will click it to apply. After we apply the WISP theme, we'll go back to the Home tab on the ribbon. We'll go to the Slides group, to Layout, and we'll apply the title and content layout. Again, if you don't have autosave on, make sure you are saving your file frequently. Now that we have the title and content layout applied to our slide, the next thing we do is delete the title placeholder since we do not need it. I'll take the mouse, I will click the edge of the title content placeholder. We notice now that it has the 6 or 8 dots around it. I'm going to simply click delete on my keyboard to delete the placeholder. Next, we are going to insert a chart. I can see in my content area I have several icons. Hovering over to the second one, I can see that it says Insert Chart. I'll click the Insert Chart. On the left side of the menu, we have all the different kinds of charts that we can insert. For this case, we are going to come to the pie chart. Across the top of the menu, then we see the different types of pie charts that we can insert. For this, we are going to insert a 3D pie chart. Once you've selected the 3D pie chart, we will click OK to insert the pie chart into the PowerPoint. Now that the pie chart is inserted into the PowerPoint, we notice a couple things. One, at the bottom, we have this little tiny Excel window that pops up. This is where we'll be editing our data from. In the chart itself, notice the chart has a title, it has the actual pie chart, and then it has a key or a legend at the bottom. The first thing we're going to do is change the title. So in my little Excel block, I can come in where it says Sales, and I can replace that with 5 sleep stages. Make sure you pay attention to capitalization. Notice as I move out of that cell using my down arrow key that the title automatically changes within the PowerPoint. Where it says first quarter, we're going to change that to stage 1 and then appropriately change the rest to stage 2, 3, and 4. You'll notice throughout this video that at times when there's a lot of typing, I will pause the video or pause the recording while I type and then rejoin you. As you're working from home, if you're working with me, feel free to pause this video at any time to complete tasks and then restart. So now that we have stage 1, 2, 3, and 4 entered, we're going to go to cell A6, which is directly underneath stage 4, and we're going to type REM, R-E-M, all capitals. Next, we'll use our arrow keys to go back up to cell B2, in which where we will type 5. Then we can move this pointer down to B3, where we type 50, go down, type 5, 15, and then 25. And we can see how the chart changes as we proceed. Now that I have all my data entered, I can close the spreadsheet simply by clicking the red X in the upper right corner. Make sure now that your chart, your 3D pie chart, is selected. At this point, we are going to go up to the Format menu, and we are going to resize our chart. On the right side, we have our size menu, and we are going to change the shade height to 6.5 and the width to 10.5. Now we see our chart resized. Notice the chart now is hanging off the bottom of our PowerPoint slide and would not be visible to the viewer watching this as a slideshow. Next, what we'll have to do is align the chart. So make sure your chart is still selected. We're going to go up to the Arrange group, still in the Format tab on the ribbon. We'll go to the Align group. Within the Align group, we are going to go ahead and click first on Align Center. We notice now that the chart moves over to the left to the center of the slide. We're going to go back up to Align. This time we are going to click Align Middle. Notice how the chart moves up the slide to the middle of the slide. Now we are perfectly aligned in the center of the slide, both vertically and horizontally. Now that we have our chart centered, we decide that maybe we do not like the style or certain characteristics about our chart. At this point, we can make changes. You'll notice with the side selected to the right, there are 3 buttons. There's the chart elements, the chart styles, and the chart filters. We're going to go to the paintbrush or the chart styles. That is going to bring up a little menu which has style and color. We want to find style number 5. So I can hover over 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And notice as we hover over them, you can see what the new chart would look like. We're going to apply style number 5 simply by clicking it to apply. I can go ahead and click the Chart Styles button again, and that will hide the menu. Next, we are going to change the shape outline color. So we want to go ahead and click the center of the pie chart. And now we see sizing handles on this slice of pie. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So we can see all the slices have sizing charts. Next, we'll go to our Shape Style group. We're going to click the Shape Outline menu, and we're going to find dark red. And for mine, it's the first color in the standard row, and I'm going to click dark red to apply it. Next, we're going to change the weight or width of those outlines. Okay, with your shape still selected, we are going to go back up to the Shape Outline menu. This time I'm going to come down to weight. Currently my weight is 3/4 of a point. I want to change that to 2 1/4 point. Notice how you hover over them and it'll show you the thickness of the weight. So we're going to go to 2 1/4. Now that increases the weight of the outlines to 2 1/4. Next we're going to change the title and legend font and the font size. So let's go ahead and click the chart title. Now the text box is selected. We are going to go back to the Home tab on the ribbon. We're going to click the Increase Font Size button until our font is 32 point. Notice how other things change while we're doing that to adjust for the new size. Right next to the font size, we're going to go ahead and click our font type. And we're going to find Rockwell. I'm going to start typing rock. And then I'm going to find Rockwell, and I'm going to apply that. Next, I'm going to click the legend down at the bottom to select it, and I'm going to increase the font on that until it's 18. And I'm also going to change the font to Rockwell. And now it comes up in my recent used fonts. And last, I'm going to click the bold button to apply a bold font to the font. Next up, we're going to add a table to a slide, and we're going to do some formatting. Before we insert a table, we're going to have to add a new slide. So I'm going to go up to the new slide button, and I'm going to do title and content. Notice now in my navigation I have a new slide. I'm going to go to click the insert table button now in my content area. I am going to click the down arrow next to the columns until I get to the number 2. And I'm going to click the up arrow in rows until I get to 5. Remember, in tables, columns go vertical, rows go horizontal. When I'm done and have it how I want it, I'm going to click OK. Notice now that we have a table inserted right into the content area. Next, we'll need to enter data. So we're going to go to the first cell in our table and type age. I can now move from cell to cell by pressing the Tab key. I'm going to press it once to go right. Press it again, it's going to bring me down. And then I will fill in the data as in the book. Now that we have all our content typed in, we are going to change the style. So right now, the style of the table, it has this dark red color in the header row and then alternating shades of red going down. In this case, we decide we want to change that color. So we are going to go to the table design menu, to the table styles group. We'll hit the more button on the table styles, and we are going to find medium style 1, accent 4. Looks like that should be right about here. Medium style 1, accent 4 in the medium group. And we'll click to apply. Again, as we went through that menu, we could hover over and see how other styles would look. Next, we want to add borders to the table. So with our table still selected, we are going to go to the borders group. Once we click the borders arrow, we are going to click the all borders, second one down. That applies the all border. It gives all borders inside and outside to the table. We're going to go right back up to the table styles group to the effects menu to apply an effect to the table. Now this time we're going to come down to shadow. And then we are going to find in the perspective group, perspective upper left. So what this is going to do is it's going to cast a shadow from the bottom to the upper left direction. And we can see again, as we would hover over this, we can see how they would apply. And then we'll select the perspective upper left. Now that we have our effect applied, we decide that we would like to add another row to the table. And this can be done very easily from the ribbon. I'll put my cursor in the last cell in the first column, go up to the Layout tab on the ribbon, and I can simply click the Insert Below button. This now inserts a row below the 18 to 64. We'll go ahead and add some text into there. We'll call this 65 plus. I'll hit my Tab key and the minimum hours of 7. Much like adding a row, we can also add another column. So with my cursor in the column on the right side, I am simply going to click Insert Right. And now we have added another column. With my cursor in the header row in the new column, I'm going to go ahead and enter all the information. Now that I have all my data in the table, I'm going to go ahead and resize my table. I'm going to go back up to my Table Tools Layout menu. Notice I have a table size group in the ribbon. I'm going to change my height to 4 and my width to 6.5, 6.5. Enter. Notice now the table is resized to a more appropriate size. We are going to go back up to the Arrange group, go to Align. We are going to align center. Notice how the table now moves to the middle of the slide, but still stays in the proper position below the title. We do see our placeholder for our title above. We will simply click in our placeholder and type sleep requirements. We'll go ahead and change that also to a Rockwell font to match our first slide. A lot of times whenever you add a table or a chart or something to a PowerPoint slide, sometimes you need to add a little more context. So the person viewing the slideshow or the presentation kind of knows a little bit more about what's going on or where the data is from. So at this point, we're going to go ahead and insert a text box by going to the Insert menu and Text Box, and we'll go ahead and add that down near the bottom of the slide. And we are going to use this to give a source for information. So I'm going to simply type source, National Sleep Foundation. And I can click off to see now that it's down there. Might not necessarily be where I want it to be, so I'm going to go ahead and select it again. I'm going to select the text inside. First thing I do is I'm going to just kind of get this back in line with the rest of my presentation. I'm going to make it 20-point font, and I'm going to make it Rockwell. Okay, next I'm going to use the Smart Guides to align the text box. So I want to get this text box in the middle. I'm simply going to grab it, and I'm going to wait till I can see my centering right there, my centering guideline, and I'm going to go ahead and center that in the middle of the page. Click outside the text box. Now I deselect. I can see what my text box looks like and make sure the placement is appropriate. We're midway through this module. If you need to, this would be a good place to pause me and take a break, get up, stretch, grab a drink. If not, we will carry on. All right, welcome back. The next part of this module starts with inserting and moving slides. So the first things we're going to do is we're going to reuse slides from an existing presentation. So if you're not already there, make sure you go to the Home tab on the ribbon. We'll click the New Slide button, and we're going to come down to Reuse Slides. Okay, it may bring up some slides that you've previously used or downloaded. We are going to find the slides Support PPT-3 Reuse that we downloaded from Cengage. I found mine right there. I will click on that. And then I'm going to go ahead and insert all slides. Okay, we can see the slides instantly go right into our presentation at the end. I can go ahead and close the Reuse Slides pane. At this point now, if we need to change slides around, we can move them in the slide sorter view. I come down to the status bar of my ribbon, and I can hover over until I find slide sorter view. I can now see all of my slides, and I'm simply going to drag and drop them to reorder. So I'm going to grab the computer one, I'm going to drag that over to the beginning, and I'm going to leave control your exposure to light at the end. I can come back down to my status bar and click Normal to return to my normal view. Another thing you notice is that my slides did not come over and apply the same theme. So I'm going to simply click Slide 1, hold Control, click Slide 4. I'm going to go back to my Design tab on the ribbon, and I will make sure I apply the WISP theme that we're using on everything else. Okay, now that my slides match, I decide that I do want to keep reordering. I can also reorder from this view. So I can grab Slide 4 and now move that up underneath Slide 2. So now my order is the computer screen, the control your exposure light, the pie chart, and ending with the table. So next we're going to delete a picture. So if we go back to slide number 1, we decided this picture, while we used it before, maybe it doesn't fit quite with this one. So I'm going to click the picture, and I'm going to press delete on the keyboard. Next, we can insert and resize a picture not using the content layout. So now we have this blank screen. I'm going to go to Insert, Pictures from this device. And I'm going to go to my downloads, and I found this support picture. This is Support PPT3 Bed. So we'll click on the picture and click Insert. Notice now it comes into the middle of my picture. If your designer comes up, feel free to shut that off. And we want to make this a height of 7, width of 11.23. So I'm going to go to Picture Format. I'm going to go to a height of 7. Notice it changed the width automatically, but not what I want. So I'm going to go to Size. I'm going to uncheck Lock Aspect Ratio, and then I'm going to change my width to 11.23. Enter. And go ahead and close that menu down. Next, I want to crop the picture, so make sure it is still selected. I am going to go up to the crop menu. This is going to, when I click crop, it'll make now these heavy black bars around near the sizing handles. And this is what I can use to crop the picture or take part of the picture out that I don't want. So I want to position my cursor over the center crop handle. And I want to click and I want to drag it down inward to the middle of the picture till it is at the top edge of the woman's head. So in this, I'll come out. Anything gray is what we're going to crop out. I'll bring it to about there, looks good to me. And then I'll press the crop button again. Notice now how my picture is cropped to a different size. I'm going to continue editing this picture with color. So at this point, I'm going to go up to the Adjust menu and to Color. For this, I want to find a color tone and a temperature of 4,700 Kelvin, because I kind of that blue hue to the picture. You can also add artistic effects from the Adjust menu. So we're going to click the Artistic Effects button, and we're going to find the crisscross etching. And as we go over them, you can see what it'll look like applied to the picture. I found crisscross etching, and we will apply that by clicking. Another nice feature of PowerPoint, what I can do is I can apply corrections to change the brightness, the contrast, the softness, or the sharpness of the picture. So brightness determines the overall light or dark of the image, or contrast is the difference between the darkest and lightest parts of the image. Sharpness is the clarity of the picture, and softness is going to be a less sharp picture. So with it still selected, the picture, we're going to go up to the Corrections menu. And we can see first is Sharpen or Soften. We're going to click Sharpen 50%. We notice how that makes it more of a soft, kind of dream-esque picture. And we'll click that to apply. The next, we're going to do a Picture Style to the menu. So we're going to go to the Picture Styles group. And we want to find the bevel perspective. So we can hover over until we find bevel perspective. I believe it's this one here, bevel perspective. So now we see how it's kind of changed the window, kind of give it more of a three-dimensional look from a flat picture. And we're going to size this again with the picture still selected. We're going to change the height measurement to 5.5. And the width to 7.4. Now that we have the picture where we want it, we are going to use our smart guides to position the picture in the center of the slide. So I get my vertical guide, my horizontal guide. Now I know I'm centered. I'm going to let go. We can also use the Align menu to change the orientation of the picture. So right now we have it centered in the middle of the picture. If we want to move that to the top, we can simply go to the Align group and click Align Top. and now it moves the picture. And notice there is some space above the actual picture, the image, in the top. The bars indicate the overall size of the image, and it's not necessarily just the picture, especially since we have it beveled. Now that we have our picture where we want it, we are going to go ahead and create and format some word art. We're going to click anywhere to deselect the picture. I am going to go to my Insert menu, and then I'm going to go to my Word Art menu. I want to find the Gradient Fill Olive Accent Color 4. And there we find it. The third column, second row. Now we'll click. It's going to bring up our text box, and we are going to name this Sleep Well Tonight. Okay, now that we have that in, we want to change the shape of our word art. So with our word art still selected, we are going to go up to Text Effects, and we are going to go down to Transform, and we're going to point to Wave Down. Again, I can hover over to get my screen tip, and I'm going to click it to apply the effect. I'm going to go up to my Size menu, and I'm going to change the shape height to 1.5 and the shape width to 10. And I'll use the Smart Guides to align it into the proper position, both vertically and horizontally below the picture. I can also change the rotation effect on my word art. With my word art still selected, I go to the Text Effects menu. I can go to 3D Rotation, and I'm looking for the perspective above. So it just changes kind of the orientation or rotation of the effect. If I decide that color is not what I want, I can also change the color. So we're going to go up to the text fill arrow, and we're going to change that to olive green accent 5 and apply the color change. If we want that to pop out a little bit more against the background, we can also change the outline. So we are going to go up to the text outline, and we are going to find that dark red color that we already have in the slide, and that ties it all in together nicely. And we can click out and see what it looks like. We're going to jump back over to slide number 2, and now we're going to convert already existing text into word art. So we're going to go ahead and click to select the Control Your Exposure to Light title box. Go over to the Shape Format tab, and then we're going to go to the Word Art Styles, and we are going to find Fill Dark Red Accent Color 1 Shadow, and click to apply. If you haven't saved in a while, this would be a good opportunity to do so. So now that we have our slides where we want to have our slides, we can go ahead and add some animations to make it more interesting for our viewers. So with you still have the word art on slide 2 selected. We're going to go ahead and click the Animations tab on the ribbon. We'll click the we will click the Float In as our animation from the ribbon, and we can see a quick preview. Next, we'll go to the Effects Options button, and we're going to change that to Float Down instead of Up. Now we can see how it slowly floats down into our scene. We're going to change when the animation starts. So instead of on click, so the user would have to click to start the animation, we are going to change that to say with previous. And so now when we move that slide, that animation will happen since we chose with previous. Next, we're going to change the duration. We're going to change it from 1 second to 2 seconds. All right. We can always click our preview button. And we can see now the 2-second drop in or float in from the top towards the bottom. We'll continue adding animations by adding animations to the bulleted list. So we're going to click to select that text box with the bulleted list. We're going to go back up to our animations, and this time we're going to choose fade. Next, we're going to go to our effects options, and this is where we are going to adjust the sequence. Right now it's by paragraph. We're going to change that to all at once, so they all come in at the same time. You can hit our preview, and we can see what our animations are like. Next, we're going to add some video, some media to our slide. So in slide 2, we are going to come over and we're going to click Insert Video. And we are going to select the Awake support file that we downloaded. And I'm going to go to my downloads, and there is Awake, and I'm going to click Insert. Notice now it inserts the video with its own player into the PowerPoint. You can click play and pause. We're going to resize this video clip. We're going to resize the height to 3.3, and that should make the height 5.87 in proportion. Now that we have the video in, we're going to move it, again using our smart guides. And we will move it up and use the smart guide on the vertical side to insert it to the right side and directly below the title. We can also do corrections, much like with the color to the pictures, we can do corrections with the video. So we are going to go ahead and hit the corrections, and we are going to come down to brightness plus 40, contrast plus 40, and click. We can also determine what happens when the video comes on. We're going to go to the playback group, and we are going to start this automatically. So as you go to the slide, the video starts automatically. Yeah, if you haven't hit save, make sure you go and hit save. Next, we're going to add transitions between slides. So we're going to go to the transitions group. We're going to apply the ripple transition. I'll hit the more button. I'm going to find the exciting group and ripple. I get a quick preview of the transition. I'm going to change that time. It's just not quite long enough, from 1.4 seconds to 3 seconds. Now I have my transition where I want it. I am going to go ahead and click Apply to All. Then go ahead and click Preview. See my transition. Make sure I hit save. I'm going to view my entire slideshow by going down to the slideshow button. And click through my slideshow. And see that everything is how I like it. At this point, you can go ahead and save your presentation and upload it into Cengage for grading. I hope this helped with PowerPoint Module 3. As always, if you need anything, please send me an email.